and 2 minutes. Thank you once again for joining us today. Okay, good evening, everyone. I believe I'm audible here.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of our YP monthly series. And so today we're going to be having our financial series. And today we're going to be having the Personal Finance Mastery Workshop for Professionals. Right here we have an amazing speaker for us. We have Victor Ona, our personal finance coach. We have had him here before, but indirectly. And we're really happy to have him here with us today, taking us through personal finance mastery. And so without further ado, I would begin the program, and I hope to have you all follow us. So to begin the program, we're going to start with the national anthem. And so let's have the national anthem. Okay. So to begin the program, I'm going to be bringing up the moderator who's going to take charge of today's program. And our moderator today is a very familiar face. Our moderator today is our own YP chairperson, and that's Ofre Ugege. She is a certified petroleum engineer with seasoned experience in managing oil and gas assets. She joined Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, SPDC, in 2019 and has held roles across the development team supporting the land and NOV assets. Ofri is fueled by her passion for understanding the oil and gas business in its ramifications. Her tenacity, hunger for knowledge, and determination has contributed to her recent success at work and beyond. And she is also a diversity and inclusion enthusiast who is keen on making sure everyone feels inclusive in the workplace and its impact on workplace productivity. She believes in care for people at the core of what she does and is an exemplar at inspiring people to deliver at their best while achieving personal, career, and spiritual growth. The success of young women in various facets of life and living is a thing of strong passion for her and led to her co-founding the Global Rich Girls Network that provides a safe space for teenage girls and women to be open and exchange knowledge on experiences and challenges for mutual collective learning and improvement. She's currently the Young Professional Chair of Section 103 Port Harcourt, and she enjoys taking leisurely walks, traveling, reading, as well as spending time with her family as she incessantly strives to achieve the right work-life balance. really amazing moderator we have here today. So at this point, I would like to welcome Ofri to take on the program. Thank you very much for joining us, Ofri.
Thanks so much, Isra, for that wonderful introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excited to be here. Good evening, everyone. I trust we're all doing good and hope our week has been great so far. I think this session is something I've been looking forward to, and I think everyone on the call too. And I know it promises to be an amazing time. So what better way to spend your Friday evening rather than joining us today to garner as much knowledge from the theme or topic of the day. So briefly, as you can see on the slide, this is our agenda for today. We're going to do everything briefly. So we'll go to the myth of why we are here. And yes, we'll take the safety brief shortly, after which we'll take the opening remarks from our technical team lead. His team is actually the one in charge of anchoring or putting this event together. So we'll do the opening remarks, after which we'll go ahead to recognize our senior members on the call. And then I'll be introducing the speaker, who then takes us through the presentation for today. Exciting times ahead. And then we'll have an opportunity for question and answer. I think finance is just one important area that everyone is interested in. You want to ensure you're properly managing your finance. Are you saving? Are you investing? Are you the type that is just spending? The one with the mentality of YOLO, you only live once. Anyways, when our speaker comes up, we'll be able to get as much as possible from an expert who's doing so well in that field. So please feel free to drop your questions and answers when when it's time. And then after Q&A, we're going to photographs. So it's a thing in SPE, especially when we have virtual sessions, we always want to encourage people to turn on their cameras just to show that you were part of the event and you enjoyed it too. So if you're excited when it's time for Q&A, please ensure you turn on your camera so we can get your face, your beautiful faces and your handsome faces too. And yes, we'll take the membership drive, just an opportunity to tell people about this wonderful organization that we are part of, one that I'm proud of, and encourage you to join if maybe you're not a member yet, and even to renew your membership if you haven't renewed your membership yet. We'll go into the closing prayers and then closing remarks, and then we'll take the national anthem. So on safety, yes, this is a virtual meeting. So just few safety tips just to remind us of, to ensure that we are fully at alert as we engage in the session. First, we need to ensure that our mics are muted, especially during this period where the speaker is speaking or the moderator and it's maybe not yet time for Q&A. So you can please ensure your mic is always muted. And the functionality on Zoom, the raise hand icon. So when it's time for Q&A, you can please use that to signify that you want to ask questions. And just to ensure that we'll manage the chat box to ensure we're able to collate questions when it's time. Would encourage you to use C if you want to drop a comment on the chat, and Q if it's just a question that you want the speaker to address. Please be alert of your environment. And one thing I'd also say, please, if you're driving, there's really no need for you to be on this call at the moment because we care about your safety. So please ensure that you're in a safe environment or you've gotten to your destination before you join us for your safety too. Thank you so much. Next, I'll be calling the technical team lead, a fantastic guy, Mr. Basi Ogunude, to do us the honors of taking the opening remarks for today's session.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me? Just confirm.
Loud and clear.
Great. Nice to be here. So I see the number of attendees ramping up, and I think that really speaks to the essence of today's topic, right? So I'm thankful for everyone that's put this together. I'm working behind the scene as well. It's quite a very critical, I would say very critical and essential topic, especially given the current situation of things, right? I believe most of us are already feeling the pinch of the fuel scarcity. Money is becoming critical every day. Things are getting more expensive. It's important on how we manage our personal finances. And I think it's quite apt that we're having this conversation today with, a professional in that field, Mr. Victor. And I really encourage us all to, pay attention to all that will be discussed today. There are quite a lot that we can learn. And I think and believe personally that, it's not really about how much you get into your coffers. It's about how you manage it, how you invest it, how you spend it, how you take care of it. That will determine your capacity, your ability to influence your future the way you want. And I think it's strategic. It's something that requires learning, requires attention. It's not something anybody is born with. You need to pay attention and, be conscious of how you deal with it. And that is why it's a pleasure for me to really also be here today. And I encourage us all to take keen attention or pay key attention to all that will be discussed today. Make your notes, put all the things you want to discuss together, ask your questions, make your, little points on how you're going to implement them. And trust me, it really works if you pay good attention to them. I think with that, I would really say let's have a very fantastic session. The person that is in our midst to deliver this is already well known, in the industry for, building capacity for young talents and young individuals in this space. So I'll encourage us all to, fully participate as much as we can, right? So thanks again, everyone, for joining, and let's have a very fantastic one. Yeah, back to you, Ofre.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Basil. When a financial expert is recognizing or talking about another financial expert, we are in for something huge. Thanks, YP Technical Team Lead. And we'll be going over to the next activity of the day. One activity that we'll always do is to encourage our senior members and board members on the call, just to appreciate them for joining us. So I'll call on the YP co-chair, Emanuela Agbo, to please take this up.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, I've been unmuted. Good evening, everyone. Good to see that we are on the call. I'm seeing over 40 participants. I assure you that you're in for something enlightening and great. So quickly, I just want to recognize our senior members and board members on the call. Yeah, we appreciate that you honored us with your presence here. So I can see Dorcas. Dorcas is our communications chair for this board year. On the call, we have Madam Tombari. Yeah, Madam Tombari Druzo is the membership chairperson for this board year. Yes, I can also see Ofre. Ofre was also introduced early on the call. She's a young professionals chairperson. I don't think I'm missing out any other senior member or board member. So, and I also want to recognize you too. You're all special. Yeah, have a wonderful session ahead. Over to you, Ofre.
Thanks so much, Ella. And I want to recognize you too. Ella is our young professionals assistant chairperson. She's been an amazing, amazing lady. And she's part of the committee that planned this. So thank you so much, Ella. And yes, appreciating everyone on the call. Thank you so much for joining. It's one thing to plan an event. It's another thing to see people attend such events. It gives the planning committee or the team in charge joy. So thank you so much for joining, and feel free to share the link with your friends. This is money we're talking about right now. So please, if you care about your friend, care about either your spouse, care about your brothers, your sister, I think this is something that you can share with them, because it's going to be great if they too are managing their finances well. It won't be a burden to you. So please feel free to share the link with them, encourage them to join. And I'll be going over now to introduce our speaker, the moment we've been waiting for. Yes. Mr. Victor Owuna is a professional accountant with extensive expertise in finance and accounting, and he has experience in the oil and gas sector, educational sector, as well as the construction industry. He has garnered over 5 years experience in these areas. He actually founded the Personal Finance Gym, which is a vibrant community that's dedicated to supporting and guiding young and aspiring investors in their journey towards building wealth through investing. Additionally, he's a media, communications, and community manager for the Royal NFTs. This is a luxury company that leverages digital technology to unite individuals from African backgrounds and the diaspora. And they're also about fostering authentic cultural connections and experiences. His ultimate life goal is to create a network of like-minded individuals that's committed to driving social transformation and making a meaningful impact. He believes in a better society. He believes a better society emerges when individuals' mind transform towards positive change. Who better to do justice to the section this evening? Mr. Victor, we are excited to have you join us this evening. Thank you so much for accepting to do this with us. The floor is now yours. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, SPE team. Thank you, Opere. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Basil. Thank you so much. It's a privilege for me to be here. And thank you everyone for joining. I see over 40 people gathered here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a privilege. Yeah, so I think I'll just go ahead to share my screen. Is that okay to go ahead and do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So if you can see my screen, let me just, you can just say hi in the chat box so that I'm sure that everyone is seeing it. Just say yes. Absolutely. Deborah Owona says yes. Okay. I see yes. Okay. Excellent. So once again, thank you so much for joining. So let's begin. Of course, while the introduction was going on, I mean, Ofri and Mr. Basil, you guys did so much. Like, you're emphasizing this thing so much that you're beginning to put me under some certain level of pressure, you know. But then it's all good. We're going to be talking about finance, and the reason why this is so crucial, like Mr. Basil highlighted, you know, it's a very crucial part of our lives, and the more we learn about it, the more we are able to work towards a more financially independent lives, or financially free lives, where we're able to live without having any fear or doubt or uncertainty. You know, finances is very important when it comes to our lives generally. It's not the most important, but then it's very key, and that's why we're here. So we're going to be diving straight into today's session. Okay, so this is just like a table of content. First, we're going to be looking at this, the what and why. So what money is, why it's important to manage money, why it's important for you to manage your money. We're going to look at mindset, right, which is very, very crucial here. So we're looking at the 3 M's of money. 3 M's, of course, has to do with the part of generating income, the part of managing income, which is like protecting income, and of course, the part of multiplying income, multiplying money. We're going to be looking at the 3 M's. And then how you should think about money, a certain mindset you need to have when you are thinking about money, right? When you have that mindset, or you have that approach towards your finance, you are able to take more informed or intelligent decisions regarding your finance. And of course, savings, why you should save money, how to build a healthy savings culture, and how to set money boundaries. Very, very important. And of course, the final thing we're going to be looking at is the 3 types of investments, you know, popular investments that people can do. I'm going to be sharing 3 options that you can look into. and of course, how to invest intelligently, right? Okay, so we're going to be going right in. I want to run a very quick poll right now. Ofri, if you can help me with that, I'd like to just run a quick poll in the chat box. So everyone, Ofri is going to type a poll in the chat box, and you're going to be answering. It's an anonymous poll, by the way. So I want you to just share with me, what is your biggest money fear? So she's going to share 4 options, and you can just select one of them.
Okay, it's on the screen. It's on the screen, so people can vote.
Okay, amazing, amazing. All right, so what is your biggest money fear? So go ahead and vote. Just have 2 minutes to do this. Okay, so I see some people.
So they're responding to all the questions. Maybe you can just speak to others too.
Okay, amazing. All right, so the reason why I'm asking this question is because it all begins with identifying what your money fear is, right? Like if you understand what your biggest money fear is, then you are on the right track to tackling that particular fear. So I see people are answering. We have 24% saying fear of not having enough savings. I have about 9%. Okay, I think it's moving back and forth. But then the one with the most answers is the fear of financial instability. Yes. So I think for now we can just pause the poll. Let's just end the poll here. So I see the fear of financial instability. That's like, of course, we're going to be dealing with all of them, but then I'm just going to take the one that people voted the most. So the fear of financial instability. So it's obvious that most people have a certain fear that at a certain point in their life, they may become financially unstable to be able to, carry out the things they would like to do with money, right? So that fear is what we're going to be dealing with in this particular session. And of course, like I said, we're going to also be looking at other areas that you have also mentioned. But I just did the poll just to get our opinions about the fears we have about money. So let's go to the next slide. So now, okay. So what is money, right? So everyone, of course, knows that money is a tool. Money is just simply a tool that we can use to buy and sell, right? The money you have in your bank account or the money you have in your wallet, it's called fiat. And the meaning of fiat is backed by literally nothing except faith in the government, right? When the government says that this paper you are holding in your hand is something that you can use to transact, then that becomes money. So when it is generally accepted and it's by decree by the government of a particular nation or entity, that is money. So essentially, money is just a tool that we can use to buy and sell. As long as people are comfortable with using it and the government decrees that this is what it is, then everybody goes ahead with it. Those of you who felt the money crunch that happened, I think it was earlier in the year. Yes, the government said that the previous Naira note was no longer a legal entity, and automatically people stopped collecting that money, right? So the government has that much power to decree what money is and what money is not. All right, so number 2, money represents value, right? When you work or provide a service, you earn money as a reward for your effort. So what does that mean? What it essentially means is that money represents the value that you have. So if, for example, if I'm an accountant now and somebody needs my services, right? So the value of my service, it's in the amount of money that someone can pay me, right? So if I want more money, all I need to do is to get so good at what I do that I can attract more of that money. So the money is just a representative of is just representing the value that you have or the value that you carry, whatever thing you do or enterprise that you have, right? So the third one, money lets you save and plan for the future. You can build up savings and be prepared for emergencies. So money essentially helps you to be able to save and plan for your future. Now, it's very important I mention here that when it comes to savings, we'll get there, but then I just want to mention it, here. When it comes to savings only has to do with the now. When you are saving, you are taking care of your present, right? So you are only able to take care of your present financially with money. But there's a second part, which is planning for the future, because it is with the same money that you use to take care of your present that you can also use to take care of the future, which is the part where the planning comes in, right? So essentially, money helps you save for the present and plan for the future. Now, the fourth one is money is neither good nor bad. I know there's a popular notion that, and this is actually not something that, people tend to overlook it a lot, but then most people, and I'm going to give myself as an example, growing up, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon, right? So I saw the rich people as the creme de la creme in the society, and we had to, always be at their mercy, So what that did to me was that it registered a wrong narrative about what money means. So I attached a wrong narrative to money. So if you are not wealthy, or if you don't have a lot of money, essentially in my mind, psychologically, you are not going to be valued, right? And that's what people have, that has really prevented people from going through the best possible ways to actually make money. So that's why you see people, going to do fraud or jump into quick money schemes just to make money, because there's a certain perception in society that the more money you have, the more respect you are going to earn. And the more money you have, the more you will be valued in society, right? So, but in the real sense of it, money essentially is not good or bad, right? What money does is that it only exposes the level of growth that you have, or it only exposes who you truly are on your inside, right? So if you have money, then whatever you or whoever you are becomes more evident, whether good or bad, right? So, but the money itself, it's not good or bad. It only takes the mindset of the person who owns or who has the money, right? So it's just something I want us to just understand. I'm just laying the foundation, right? So money essentially is not good or bad. We can't say, okay, because money is good because it can help me solve problems, but it's bad because no. Money in itself as a currency is not good or bad. It only takes the mindset of the person who owns that money. So this is just a description of the evolution of money. Started from trade by barter. Most of us know this already. Trade by barter. Of course, we grew to gold and metal coins, went to paper money. We still use paper money, by the way. And in some countries like Ghana, they still use coins. Of course, plastic card, where we can just go swipe our cards in the ATM and then we get our transactions done, right? And of course, we now have electronic transfer. We have our digital cards right now on our phones, right? So this is just the evolution of money. And now we have cryptocurrency, right? It's like the current wave right now. And after crypto, definitely something will even come after that. It's just going to continuously evolving, right? So this is just like a representation of the evolution of money. Yeah, so why should you manage your finance? Mr. Basil spoke about that. He said something very striking. He said that everybody wants to make money. Everybody is looking for how to make money, but the essential ingredient of the whole cycle of wealth, I call it the cycle of wealth, which has to do with making, managing, and multiplying. If you don't understand the cycle, then you are going to be stuck, right? So managing of finance is where the major work is. Making money, that's just straightforward. When you are valuable, you get more money. When you When you increase your value, you get more money. But when it comes to managing money, that is where the main work is. So number one, it keeps you financially stable. Remember, the vote we just did right now, or the poll we ran, we had financial instability as one of the major fears. So when you understand how to manage money, then you become more financially stable. And remember, it starts from the mind, because when you develop a sound money management habit, then it informs your mind and you are able to become more confident, and then you can work towards becoming financially stable, right? So when you are able to manage your money effectively, you become financially stable. And of course, you have enough to cover your expenses, handle emergencies, and avoid living paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to share a short story here. I have been, I know most of us can relate, right? I have lived paycheck to paycheck, and it was not a very interesting journey. There are times when we had to spend ahead of time and borrow to be able to live off the remaining month. And then we had to now, we had to find ways to sort out ourselves when we now got paid, because when you get paid the following month, you are settling the 2 weeks ahead that you have already borrowed. And then you now live for another 2 weeks. By the way, I'm going to also run a poll regarding that. So when you are financially stable, it prevents you from living paycheck to paycheck. It helps you reach your financial goal. It helps you reach your goals, such as maybe you want to buy a house, or you want to start a business, or you want to save to advance your education. What managing your finances does is that it gives you direction on what to do with regards to your goals. So when you set your financial goals for maybe the year, or for 2 years, or for 3 years, say you want to buy a house in 3 years, then you start to work towards it by developing the right money management habits. Then you are able to reach your goals. So it reduces debt and ensures you don't fall into a cycle of debt. This is very crucial, because currently in Nigeria, we have a whole lot of people have fallen for the trap of these loan apps. And I understand clearly, because people have a lot of money needs, and then because of that, they dip hands into these loan apps, and then they don't realize that the loan apps are actually like a trap. We'll talk about that towards the end. They're like a trap, and then they end up falling into a cycle. So every time you get paid, you are paying loans, and then it goes back again, you are paying loans, and then you just fall into that cycle, and then it almost looks like you can never come out of it. But when you have a sound money management habit, then it helps you to be able to reduce the possibility of that happening to you. Helps you build wealth, accumulate assets, and create additional income opportunities. When you're able to manage your money effectively, you are able to find areas in your life where you can leverage to even create more sources of income. It empowers you to make choices based on your values and long-term aspirations, so you can control your life time. So the second part is the mindset. Yeah, so 3 M's of money. I spoke about that. The first one is making money, managing money, and multiplying money. Of course, talked about the making money part. Focus on increasing your income, pursuing additional skills, or education, starting a business or a side hustle. The making money part, increasingly, because of the advance in technology, is becoming more and more, in quotes, is becoming easier, right? So a lot of people now work from home, myself inclusive. I actually work from home 70%, right? So I can sit down on my desktop at home, and I can be working for 2 different organizations. So I get probably, different 2 or 3 sources of income. So you can see that making money increasingly, because of technology, because of globalization, the world is becoming a global village, right? So that makes it easier for people to be able to stretch themselves and get into different, stretch themselves, learn skills, and then work for different organizations or do different things, run businesses, run side hustles, and they are making money. But what they don't realize is that it's like an illusion, because you can be making a lot of money and you fall into the illusion that it will continue being like that. So if you have a wrong money habit, or if you don't know how to manage money, no matter how much you make, you still find yourself going into debt. You still find yourself going into you still find yourself going into different kinds of financial stress. right? So yeah, the second M, managing money. So this has to do with budgeting, tracking your expenses, managing your debts, becoming financially literate. Now, I want to help us here, right? When it comes to creating a budget, I feel like when it comes to the financial literacy or financial education space, there has been so much emphasis on budgeting, which is very important, but it's more like it's so difficult because you want to look at an Excel sheet and you're saying, oh, where do I start? Like, I don't understand modeling, financial modeling. How do I know how to draw the graphs and know what I'm spending? Let's not complicate it. It's if you want to do this easily, all you need to do is to make sure that you just have a sheet. It can be a sheet of paper. It can be a white, plain sheet, A4 sheet, or it can even be an Excel sheet. And all you have there is income and expenditure. Very simple, income and expenditure. So you have all your sources of income, you have all your sources of expenditure. So of course, when you have in the part of your income, you are able to see the sources where incomes are coming out from. The reason why you need to have a budget, remember, I don't want you to complicate it, but the reason why you need to have a sheet of paper where you have a written or typed version of how much you earn and where your sources of income are coming from. Remember what we said the last time. What it does is that it gives you a certain level of assurance that you are heading somewhere. And then it also shows you areas in your life that you can even leverage to make more money. And if you are already falling debt, falling into debt or any form of financial stress, it shows you in the area of your expenses. That is what the budget does. Very simple, shows you income and shows you expenses. And then, of course, basic accounting, when you do your plus and minus, when your expenses are overwhelming your income, then we have a problem. When your income is higher than your expenditure, then kudos to you, you're doing well. But then there is this law called the Parkinson's law. It's a popular law that states that expenses by nature is designed to chase after your income. We're going to have a pool next where we're going to talk about that. But expenses by nature is designed to chase after your income. And that's why I'm sure some of you who are connected can relate. Whenever you get a new job or you get a raise in your workplace, or you get another side gig, another source of income, all of a sudden, a certain expenditure that you feel like you couldn't afford with your first source of income or your one source of income, now you have two sources of income. The next thing your mind is thinking about is how you can go and purchase that particular item. That is not bad, but if you're not managing your income correctly, if you don't have a budget, you would not notice that you are falling for the law for the Parkinson's law, which is your expenses trying to chase after your income. And if you are not careful, naturally your expenses will meet your income and it will become 1 is equals to 1. So your expenses will be equal to your income and you don't want to be in that level, right? So budgeting is very important. You track your expenses. It helps you to identify whether you have any debts that are outstanding, and it helps you to be able to even have a plan where you can pay your debt, and then you can also reach your financial goals as well. Yeah. So then we have the multiplying money area, which is the third and the final M, right? Which has to do with focusing on growing your money. So when you have a budget, now you have income. From your income, you can identify the savings or the sources of income that you have. And even if it's just one source, you can now have a certain ratio as to, or percentage as to what goes into expenditure, what goes into emergency, and what goes into investing. So that is the goal of having a budget, because making the money, like I said, is good, but then without the right management habit, you are not going to be able to go into the final stage, which is the multiplying money aspect. So yeah, the next slide, how you should think about money, right? The kind of thought pattern you should attach to money. When you think about money, this is what you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about how to take ownership of your financial situation or choices. right? So when I earn money, my goal is to find ways and means how I can leverage opportunities to make the right financial choices. You need to also adopt a proactive approach to managing your money. I spoke about the Parkinson's law, right? So a proactive approach prevents you from falling for the Parkinson's law. When you find yourself falling for the Parkinson's law, you are actually using a reactive approach to managing your money, right? Is when you have seen your money going down, getting to almost maybe zero, that you now realize that, oh, I shouldn't have bought this thing that I bought, but you've already bought it. You've gone ahead to buy it, so it's too late. So you need to always have a proactive approach to managing your money. Avoid blaming external factors. Instead, focus on taking action on improving your financial circumstances, right? So money helps you to avoid blaming external factors. When you don't have the right mindset towards money, you begin to look for who to blame as to why your money has gone down. Oh, maybe it's because I gave so person money. Oh, maybe it's because, why? Because you did not have a budget that allocated a certain amount of money meant for giving or meant for you understand what I mean, giving and on, etc. Right? So be open to expanding your financial knowledge, seeking advice and adapting to new financial situations. This is very key, right? Going after financial knowledge is very important. After this particular session, some of you may feel like, okay, I think I have a certain level of clarity about my financial situation and I know what to do, but never get to the point where you think that you have actually learned everything you need to learn about money. It actually evolves. I'll give you a typical example. Recently, we had the anyone still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, excellent. So recently we had during his inauguration, he made an announcement where he said that fuel subsidy is gone, right? And what did that do? The market responded immediately to a decree that the president made. Now, fuel subsidy is gone does not essentially mean that they have actually taken away fuel subsidy. He is telling us that in my administration, I plan to remove fuel subsidy. But the market does not think logically. The market reacted emotionally. And the oil marketers went ahead to increase the price of their fuel, and everybody went, haywire, But if you don't understand how money works, if you don't have a good financial knowledge, what that does for you is that you will find yourself reacting emotionally. I remember that day when it happened, I put out a tweet and I said that, please, we understand what is going on. This is just a decree, but the challenge is just how it was said, etc. But make sure you don't act emotionally, because that's what most people do. When a certain situation hits them without knowledge, they tend to act emotionally. So what that does for you, the moment I heard about the increase, I started to ask myself, okay, what am I going to do right now? It means I need to start leveraging the opportunities that are in the financial market right now, because whatever is happening is going to definitely affect the financial market. And I need to position myself. But that's because I understand how the economy affects the financial market and how the policies of the government affects my financial position. So with that understanding, you're able to take the best decision. So you need to also see setbacks as learning opportunities and challenges as chances to grow. On your financial journey, you're definitely going to have setbacks at some point or the other because you're a human, but then there are opportunities for you to learn and make adjustments as you grow. So yeah, let's run this pool now. Ofre, I'd like to come into here. So how quickly does your salary finish after receiving it? Let's just do this within 1 minute, right? Because we are almost out of time. So how quickly does your salary finish after receiving it? Let's put up the pool. Offer, is the pool up? Is the pool on now?
We're trying to do that. You know, we shared everything initially together. So
Okay. All right. You know what? Let me not.
I think it's up now. It's up now.
Okay, great. All right. So let's quickly vote. Just 1 minute.
That's question 2.
Yeah, question 2. How quickly does your salary finish after receiving? And I want you to be very honest. This is anonymous, so I mean, let's just use that to help ourselves. I see 2 to 3 weeks. I see 3 to 4 weeks. I'm not seeing 4 to 6 weeks. So, wow. I see 1 to 2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is taking the lead. All right. So let's just end it here. Thank you so much for participating. Yeah. So from this particular pool, you can see that a good number of us, our salaries actually finish within 2 to 3 weeks from when we are paid. And trust me, it is perfectly normal. Not because it is the right thing, but it is normal because remember, the Parkinson's law states that your expenses are always going to be looking for how to match up to your income. Now, I understand that we all have different financial needs. You know, I understand that we all have different goals regarding our finances. But remember when we talked about the fear, the financial instability, we all have a unifying view that we all are afraid of getting to a certain point where we are financially unstable. And now we have graduated to the point where we are now discovering what is leading to that fear. And that is because within 2 to 3 weeks, the salary I received on the 31st of May finishes somewhere around the 20th of June. And so I have close to 7-8 days where I have to, you know, literally either go into debt or find ways and means to scratch it through to the next month. And what that does to us is that begins. So I know most of us can relate, right? You get to a point where the month is coming to an end, and you are so excited for the fact that you soon get paid. Now, I want you to picture this scenario. Imagine if you work in an oil and gas company, right? So imagine if your company has a contract with a certain company, and that is where the payment is going to come from for salaries, right? And then this company has not fulfilled the payment because of maybe the delivery date delayed and all, etc. So your company now comes and tells you, okay, everyone, so sorry, we're not going to be able to pay salaries on the 30th as usual. You have to give us a grace period of 2 weeks because we're expecting payment from this particular vendor. And you're almost going crazy because you're like, my God, what is going on? You know, but that is what happens when we don't have a certain pattern to which we handle money. And of course, it comes from a place of financial literacy. And I know most of us have questions about, okay, so what do I do? How do I know, you know, how do I curate my income? You can definitely put that in the, you're going to have opportunity to ask that, right? We're going to deal with that as well. So let's go into savings proper now. Oh, sorry, I still had one last pool. One last pool. So let's put it up again. What's the main reason your money finishes fast? This one is very important. Very, very important. What's the main reason why your money finishes fast? So the first one was your biggest money fear. How quickly your salary finishes after receiving it. And then the third one is what's the main reason why your money finishes fast? Good. Wow, impulse buying is taking the lead. Oh my God.
That's why they are here. That's why we are here.
All right. So thank you once again for participating. Wow, impulse buying took first position from the onset. Impulse buying was really ahead. All right. So, but I also see giving to parents dependents. Now, let me talk a bit about that. Or maybe we can talk about that more when we're going into the other slides. But of course, we can see impulse buying. What is impulse buying? For those who don't know, impulse buying is simply buying things again emotionally, right? And I know, yes, we are emotional beings, right? So we tend to react emotionally. We are programmed to react first emotionally before allowing logic to lead us, right? So with regards to money as well, that also comes into play. But then if you can manage your emotions, this is where financial literacy comes in. If you can manage your emotions, then you wouldn't find yourself. And I'm going to give you a typical example. One time my wife wanted to purchase something that was, quite, and she called me from where she was purchasing the thing, and she was like, Victor, I just saw this, because of course we have that agreement about, want to just have this accountability thing. So she called me and I was like, oh no, don't buy it. Let us think about it. She was like, I know that I need it. Like, as I'm talking to you right now, Victor, I'm very aware of myself and I know I need it. But I told her, no, let's take, even if it's one day, just one day, to think about it clearly and ask ourselves, okay, if I spend this money right now, what is the, in economics, they call it the cost forgone or the opportunity forgone, right? So what is that thing that you are actually forgoing to be able to purchase that? And you always have to answer that question when you want to buy on impulse. Remember, I said we're emotional, so it's normal to actually react emotionally. But if you want to purchase something from a place of emotion, it's always important to take a pause and ask yourself, what am I forgoing? So if it turns out that what you are forgoing is something that is much more important than that, then the thing you want to purchase on impulse should actually wait. But of course, this is not going to be done by magic, and that's why you need to have your budget. So at every point in time, and you would see why it's important to have a budget. There's this excitement that comes with having a budget. When you have a budget, the moment you want to spend, your mind is programmed to remember the purpose for the money because you have outlined it already. When you tend to give out money so much to people because you love to give, my friend told me one time that if there's a certain way you give without wisdom, and then you now end up coming to the level of the people whom you give money to. So if you don't give with wisdom, of course, giving is very good, right? But if you don't give with wisdom, what happens is that you end up shooting yourself in the foot. So that's what happens. So it's important to find ways and means to actually stay conscious of the budget that you have created, right? Remember, the budget doesn't have to be complicated. So let's go ahead, and then we'll definitely come back to that if there is need. Right. So this is why it's important to save. This is what saving does for you. The first and most important thing everyone must do along their financial journey is to have an emergency fund. So saving money helps you to create an emergency fund. So an emergency fund is like a safety net that protects you from going into debt during unforeseen circumstances. I'll just explain what that means. So essentially, let's assume I earn 100,000 naira every month. I can decide to say, okay, you know what? Before I even start to invest, I need to first and foremost save a certain amount of money that I'll put into an account where probably it can be an account where I don't really have access to that money, except if there's an emergency. That's the purpose for the money. So typically, in America, for example, it's advised that you actually have at least 3 to 6 months worth of emergency funds if you don't have dependents. So if you are single and you don't have anybody who is depending on you, you don't have anybody you are feeding, you don't have anybody whom you need to, by virtue of relationship or whatever, you need to give that person a certain amount of money every month. If you're not that kind of person, then you can have at least 3 to 6 months worth of emergency funds. So if you decide and say, okay, when it comes, if let's say something happens to my job or something happens to someone who maybe just think of any emergency. It can be your car, it can be your job, it can be anything, right? This is the amount of money that I'm going to be able to live on until I'm able to come back to my previous status. So if, I want to give myself an example right now. Let's assume 50K is what I can live on every month if I don't have a job and I don't have any source of income. Currently, I can live with 50K. What I need to do is that while I'm working, I'm going to set aside at least I don't want my mathematics to 55 times 6. That's 30. So you have 300,000 naira set aside as an emergency fund. You are not supposed to do, aside, your expenses during the month, for the next 3 to 6 months, you are not supposed to do anything other than beefing up your emergency fund to be able to meet up with the 300,000 naira stored in a place where you don't have immediate access to it, except if it's an emergency, before you now start even investing. I don't know if this is clear, but let me just go back one more time. So when it comes to creating an emergency fund, your emergency fund saves you during a rainy day, a job loss, something happens that you need some time to bounce back. So you need to find out how much can I survive on in a month. You set that amount of money for at least 3 to 6 months worth of it before you start to invest. But then, of course, whilst you are setting out that money for emergency, you are having your expenses running along, right? So if I earn 100K, again, an example, in a month, my target is to save 300K within 6 months. So what I'm going to be doing is 50K will go into my emergency fund, and then the other 50K is going to go into maybe expenses and giving, etc. I don't need to invest that because my target is to work towards my emergency fund, which is my safety net. When you have reached your 6-month mark or your 3-month mark, you can now go into other areas, which is your investments and other things you can do with money. Of course, because you are not supposed to touch your investments when you have an emergency. You have your emergency fund to live on, right? So 3 to 6 months if you are single. If you are married or you have dependents, then it's advisable that you have 6 to 9 months worth of emergency funds. Very, very important. Remember, that money is going to go into typically people recommend that it goes into a high yield savings account, something like maybe a piggy vest where it's just locked there, and then when you lock it for probably like 6 months, because of course you are not going to need it. Your plan is that it gives your target is 6 months, so you lock it to 6 months, or you lock it to 3 months. And when you have locked it to that point, if you don't have any emergency, you extend it again for another 3 months. You keep doing that until you have been able to build a very strong financial foundation, right? So the next thing is saving money helps you. It helps to give you a sense of financial stability. Remember the first rule, financial instability. When you are able to save from your emergency, in fact, when you start to have an emergency fund, all of a sudden you start to have a certain air of confidence with your finances. And then you are able to now start having that sense of financial stability. Then you can now from there build on. So it gives you peace of mind. It helps you plan for future expenses and achieve your financial goals. Of course, it starts with having a financial goal and then you start to work towards it. But of course, without a good savings culture, you are not going to be able to have the peace of mind needed to pursue your financial goals. It ensures you have a safety net. I've already talked about that, of course, but this one has to do with retirement. So when you understand how to save, then you are able to work towards having that plan for retirement, because of course, everyone is going to retire. At some point, you're going to get tired of working actively and you're going to retire. But you need to live on something, right? And what you're going to be living on, of course, is not your emergency funds. You're going to be living on your investments. We're going to get to that point, right? And of course, it breaks the cycle of debt. So what saving money does for you is that it helps you to break out of the cycle of debt, so you don't rely on loan apps or loan companies, right? It also helps you to leave a legacy for your loved ones. This is very important. The whole goal of financial independence, or it's not so that when we get, all this whole concept of retire young and rich, you are 35 and then you can now travel to your dream destinations, and it's good. If you can achieve your financial goal at 35 or 45 or 55, that's fine. But most importantly, what you are looking at doing is to have a financial legacy, the kind of wealth that can be transitioned to the next generation, not for them to spend it, for them to spend it anyhow, but they will also grow with the mindset that transfers it to the third generation. So that's how it works. The whole goal is to have a financial legacy that transforms the financial lives of both you, your loved ones, and even those coming behind you.
Hi, Victor, sorry to interrupt. You have 8 minutes more.
Wow, okay, 8 minutes more. So let me just run through, sorry. So how to build a healthy savings culture, define specific goals that align with your financial aspirations, create a budget. I've talked about that already, track your expenses, make savings a non-negotiable priority, develop the ability to delay immediate wants, think long-term, pause, and assess before you make a purchase. Very important. Track your savings and celebrate milestones along the way. How to set healthy money boundaries. You have to be comfortable saying no to financial requests. This is very important. There are times when along your journey, people are going to request so much from you because maybe they perceive that you're doing well and all that. But if you have a budget, you're able to budget a certain amount of money that you can use to help people so that you don't fall under that pressure of, helping people or getting into financial stress. So you are going to be comfortable enough to say no because you have hit your giving target for the month, right? So you need to also set a giving budget. So talked about that already. Regularly review your financial progress. Resist the temptation to compare your lifestyle with others. Investing, which is, I think, the last part that we're coming to. Of course, now for the investing part, I talked about 3 major types of investments. We have short-term, we have mid-term, and we have long-term investments, right? So typically, a short-term investment is just what keeps you, it's about within 0 to 1 year. Within that period, you're trying to leverage opportunities that maybe can be a trending opportunity, or you just have a certain short-term financial goal and then you just want to invest towards that particular goal and then you can leverage that. So most short-term investments are things like in fixed deposits or a high yield interest savings account. They typically offer low returns. A fixed deposit in Nigeria offers about 7%, 8% thereabout. A high yield savings account offers about 10%. But if you notice, these percentages are not aimed at beating inflation because, that's more complicated. But then Nigerian inflation currently is at 22%. But then if you are going for short-term investments, that means your goal is not to beat inflation. Your goal is just to have liquidity. Your goal is to just have preservation of capital. And that's why you go for fixed deposits or you go for high yield savings accounts. And of course, if you're going for the midterm, you're looking at about 1 to 5 year period where you can leverage things like index funds. Index funds essentially are just funds that are in the market that gives you a certain amount of interest rate, which also in Nigeria, the index fund actually does not beat inflation as well. But then if you are leveraging index funds in global markets, you can actually, beat inflation. Those are more complicated areas. But then the goal of this is just to tell you about the ideas for short-term investment, which are fixed deposits, high yield savings accounts. Mid-term are index funds, and of course, mutual funds as well. Mutual funds are a different type of investment as well, but those ones give interest rates that are just manageable and within a certain range where you can actually not take too much risk, right? That's why it's mid-term. It doesn't expose you too much to risk, but it provides a certain return that is higher than the short-term investment options. Then, of course, long-term investment, that's where you talk about things like individual company stocks. Those ones go for typically 5 to even a 10-year period where you can purchase assets and then hold them for a long time. Talk about real estate, talk about individual companies, whether in the Nigerian market or in the global market, you can actually own assets. The goal of owning assets is to be able to multiply money, which is the third and final cycle, the final part of the cycle, right? To be able to multiply money at the end of the day. But if you are just starting out, your goal should not necessarily be to beat inflation. It's necessary because inflation reduces your purchasing power. But if you're just starting out, you have to grow from somewhere. So you go from the short term, you grow into the mid-term, and then you can also have the long term. You can run them concurrently as you learn about financial, as you learn more about your financial, as you educate yourself more about your finance. how to invest intelligently, you define your investment goals, you learn about different investment options, asset classes, strategies, you assess your risk tolerance, very important. You have due diligence. There are a lot of scams around, a lot of scams. You diversify your portfolio, you start early, and you remain consistent. And of course, you also have a long-term perspective, very important. This area where I put avoid signal groups is mostly groups where people just promise you immediate returns or an exorbitant return for little or no risk. That does not exist anywhere. It's just a scam. Thank you very much. Sorry for rushing the later part. I just had to keep to time. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Victor. It's been enriching, enlightening. Thank you for your time. And I think someone even had to drop on the chat that this chat has been a bit quiet because people have been taking down notes. I've literally been taking down notes. It started with defining what money is. It's a tool that we can use to buy and sell. And actually money represents value. And money lets us save and plan, help us to save and also to plan for our future. And another striking one is that money is neither good nor bad. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned that saving is for the now, investing is for the future. A lot of tips. You went further to talk about the 3 M's of making of money. And I told them that it's not MMM, the one that, that we knew. Well, it's all about how you can make money, how you can manage your money through budgeting, and also multiplying your money even through investing. And then the Pakistan law, that one is really common. Like, hey, I get a job, a better job offer, or I get into like I start earning more. And then as I go into that position, my 114th increases. I don't want to use the kind of, maybe the cream I used to use before, the perf I used to use before, because of course I'm a high class babe now and all of that. Well, that's something we need to watch again or watch out for. So if, for instance, the cream I'm currently using suits my skin, is doing the right job, I don't really need to maybe even spend more. So it's all about managing your finances at the end of the day. Yes, so I'm not saying that you shouldn't spend on yourself, but it's important that you're able to manage your finance. And then looking at the poll, talking about impulse buying. And thanks to everyone that participated in that poll for being transparent and just letting us know that, yes, this is it. I'm a corporate. I actually find myself getting involved in impulse buying, and of course spending for dependents, parents is also where our money goes to. And then people talked about when their money finishes. I said that's good. So for some people that can still, the end of month, your money is still available, you're doing well, but there are still some people in that pool that in less than 2 weeks, money is out. I think it's been really enriching, engaging, and talking about investment, short-term, mid-term, long-term. I know we didn't have time, but hopefully I think some questions are already coming in and we can start taking questions. And please, if you want to speak, can use the raise hand icon. We'll call you to come off mute and then ask your question, please. I don't know, Chibukemi, for instance, you want to speak, or I can just go ahead to read your question. Okay, maybe I can go ahead. So Chibukemi said, question says, how much interest rate is ideal for an investment per annum? How do one easily spot an investment that's not sustainable? Oh, he raised his hand too. Okay. Can unmute and just shed more light if you want.
Just that I have another question that's different from this one, and it's quite long that I won't be able to type it on the chat box. So maybe after this one is answered, I'll ask the next one. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Victor, I can go ahead to respond to this.
All right. So, sorry, I didn't really. I was looking out for the question, but I can't find it.
Okay.
Is this the last one?
The last one. How much interest rate is ideal for an investment per annum? How do one easily spot an investment that's not sustainable?
Okay, thank you very much, Chiwikem, for that question. Now, the ideal interest rate that is ideal for an investment per annum, first and foremost, would depend on your personal goal. Because, like I said, we all have different financial situations and circumstances. We all earn different amounts of money at the end of the month. But then if you want to invest, say you want to invest in stocks, right? Individual company stocks, that's supposed to be like a long-term investment. So your goal is actually to buy and hold that stocks over the long term, and you want to compound your interest over that long term. then you don't really, and of course, when I speak, I'm speaking about the global market because I'm not really, this is just me personally, it's my own personal bias. I'm not really a fan of investing in Nigerian companies, because of the inflation and all that. But then, if you want me to give you an ideal interest rate, the ideal interest rate should at least be able to either get very close to the inflation figure or exceed the inflation figure. It is best if you exceed the inflation figure, but there is a possibility. In fact, it is not possible to find an investment by a regulated body in Nigeria where the interest rate beats the inflation of the country. So, for example, in Nigeria, you cannot find an investment now, aside, in quotes now, aside real estate. The goal of every other kind of investment, like the investment in the financial market and all that, is not necessarily to beat inflation, because if you are beating inflation, then you would not want to sell your investment, and the government wants you to keep that money flowing into the economy, right? But then your goal is to build wealth, and that's why you are searching for more options to stretch yourself into, so that you can be able to accelerate your wealth. So your interest rate you should be looking at should be an interest rate that at least beats the inflation figure, but you cannot do that within a year. So what you want to do is to compound your interest rates over the years. And that's why I typically recommend long-term investment. So, for example, the average interest rate when it comes to investing in the US stock market is 10%, right? So if I put in $100 into the US stock market, at the end of the year, I'm getting $10. $100, let's say, with the exchange rate we have right now is 775,000. I'm going to get 7,500 when it comes to the additional equivalent of that money, right? But so if you look at that right now, it does not necessarily beat inflation, because Nigerian inflation, it is above the inflation rate. But then if you allow that money to compound over time, then you are going to be able to actually beat the inflation rate. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
very much, very much. I got my answer. It's just that I got my answer very well. Like saying it to be close to inflation rate. I think that's the ideal thing. Thank you so much.
Yes. Either it's very close or at least it should exceed. That's the best. That's the best you should go for. And then, of course, you also need to note that the higher the interest rate, the higher the risk. Just keep that in mind, by the way. But then there was another question. He said, how do one easily spot an investment that is not sustainable? That's like saying, how do I spot an investment that is a Ponzi scheme? Number one, when they are promising you high returns without any risk. Someone tells you, put in 300,000 into this investment scheme, and I'm going to give you 40,000 naira a month. That is unsustainable, right? So that is obviously not going to work. Or somebody tells you that you need to, any investment that sells you a certain idea that you don't have any risk and you're going to get a high return, because every return comes with a certain level of risk. So if you want to identify an investment that is unsustainable, you need to check, what kind of return am I being promised? Is it a reasonable return? And remember, if it's in Nigeria, in the Nigerian market, it should not be able to even beat inflation in the first place. So that's just how you can navigate that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next one from Steven. Please, what differentiates credit card, business cards, and fleet card? I know they are plastic cards, but then why should I have all these three types? Thank you.
Okay, so with credit cards typically when it comes to how credit cards work outside the country, it's more like you're having a card that has an advance money in it. It's like a loan. You are being given a loan by the credit card company, and they're telling you, please spend, enjoy yourself, and we're going to take a very tiny percentage from the money you're going to be paying back every month when you're working. So it's like a bit, right? So when they give you a credit card, they're trying to tell you to spend in advance. So what that means is essentially that they're trying to tell you, spend into your future now, right? That's what a credit card is for. But then the good thing about credit cards, of course, let me not sound like credit cards is a bad thing, but the good thing about credit cards is that you actually just need to have a very good plan to be able to pay back your credit on time. If you allow it to stretch, that's where you begin to enter into trouble, because of course, by the global standards, when you, for example, you have $2,000 or 2,000, I'm using dollars because I'm familiar with the one outside the country. So you have $2,000 in your credit card and you bought stuff with it. Now you're paying back, say, 18% on your credit card. If you don't pay up that money as quickly as possible, you end up paying maybe even double of the $2,000 when you are told just 18% within maybe a two-year period, because they will tell you, oh, don't worry, you can pay $20 every month. Don't worry, it's just a small money. Don't worry about disturbing yourself. But then if you follow that track record, you end up paying over the amount, the capital that they even give you or the loan that they give you. So credit card is mostly for you are certain that you can pay on time, then you can actually use a credit card. For debit card is the normal day-to-day expenditure. It's like a checking account. It's money in your debit card is just for buying. It's for swiping through ATM card, through ATM machines, POS, and buying. It doesn't have anything to do with a loan, right? So that's different. But for fleet cards, I'm not sure. I've not really researched about fleet cards, so I cannot really comment on that right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. I think we still have some more questions, Joe. I know this is a topic that people are really interested in. So we'll take the one for Nelson. I think that one is very important. He said, there's a phobia I currently have from a failed investment with a friend who has a rice farm. How do I come out of this phobia and invest again?
Sorry, please go ahead. Please read it again, please.
Okay, there's the phobia I currently have from a failed investment with a friend who had a rice farm. How do I come out of the phobia and invest again?
So what you need to do is just to take a sheet of paper and write what mistakes did I make and why did I make them. So for number one, maybe you invested with your friend because he's your friend, right? You trusted him, you didn't do your due diligence, and then you believe that the person knew what he or she was doing, and then you went ahead to put in money. So irrespective of the person being a friend, you need to do your due diligence. So when it comes to investing, there's always that risk. There's always a level of risk of loss. And that's why it's typically recommended that you shouldn't invest what you are not comfortable to lose. So if I want to invest in a particular venture, I'm investing money that if that money does not come back when I want it to come back, despite having done my due diligence, I am comfortable to wait and be patient. But let's assume it's a failed investment. So that can be as a result of many factors, but then you just need to go back, assess the reasons why the investment failed. I'll give you a typical example with myself. For one, I also made some investments where I lost some money a couple of years back, and I knew why I made the mistakes. I didn't know so much about what I was investing in. And then when I did my due diligence, it informed me and I was able to do the right things after that period. So if you don't invest because you made a mistake, you are denying yourself from creating wealth, because the only way to create wealth is by investing. That's the only way to create wealth. And when I'm talking about investing, either you run a business or you actually invest in a business or real estate, etc. But the only way to create wealth is by investing. And of course, there's always a certain level of risk that comes with it.
Okay, thank you.
Please go ahead and invest, but make sure you do your due diligence.
Yeah, due diligence is very, very important. Yeah, so I think there's one more from Covenant. It said, is it advisable to invest in BT mining and invest in Bitcoin without doubting?
Okay, I think the person is continuing the question with, I invest in these things because my friend told me, but I'm uneasy since it's the first time. Okay, first and foremost, you're making a very big mistake by investing because someone told you. Yes, you don't invest because somebody told you. The moment someone tells you, oh, I heard about this investment idea, it's really nice, you'll be like, oh, thank you so much, send me the link. Then you now start to do your research. It's your responsibility to do your research on the investment asset. Personally, I love Bitcoin, and there are reasons why I love Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency, but it is not recommended for anybody to invest in cryptocurrency simply because there is so much noise about it. No, you need to understand why people are investing in Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is trying to achieve, and why Bitcoin is the future of money. Now, the question about BT mining, I would not advise you to go into BT mining, because what it really takes to mine Bitcoin is not what we are being told. It takes a whole lot of machinery, it takes a whole lot of energy, it takes a whole lot of electricity to mine Bitcoin properly. So all these apps that people download and say they are mining Bitcoin, it's not sustainable. You at the end of the day, you are not really doing anything productive. So my recommendation, please just do more research about how Bitcoin actually is being mined, and then that will inform you on what to do.
Okay, just the final one. If maybe you can respond to that in 1 minute, that would be great. It was from Debbie. She said, let's say I have $3,000 saved in my account. I also have a credit card that has a usable balance of $17,000. Can that credit card be used as an emergency fund as well?
All right, so Debbie is actually my younger sister.
Oh,
Debbie,
nice.
thank you so much for asking this question. So now the $17,000 is not an emergency fund. That is a loan that you are being given, right, to actually use to spend. And even the company that gives you that the company that gave you that money in your credit card, they would love you to spend the money because they need to keep the business running. The only way the credit card company can profit is if you spend the money. So you cannot have that money in your credit card and the money acts as an emergency fund. Well, if, for example, you probably run into an emergency situation that kind of robs you of the opportunity to use, maybe it's such that the money that you have actually saved for emergency personally, I'm sure, Debbie, you know what they call the Roth IRAs and all those things. If you have money saved separately as an emergency fund, and then you come into a situation where you have an emergency that is beyond, or that is more than the amount of money you have saved, then you can touch the money in your credit card, but not because it is an emergency fund. As much as you are touching it, you are twice as fast in replacing or paying it back, because that money is going to, the interest rate that it's accruing, it's exponential, it's geometric. It's not actually taking a linear approach.
Okay. Thank you so much. Wow, what a wonderful session it has been. Triple KFC has his hand up.
I thought I have 2 questions now.
So please be fast because okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, quick one. Mr. Victor, thank you so much for the session. It was very wonderful. So a quick one. I want to be much more practical this time, right? Personally, I don't believe in savings, and I will give you an example. For let me use an example of when I was a copper, right? And I'm earning 33K. Only food alone, transport alone can take it all away. So how do I even manage to even start saving from that? So that will now lead me to my question, like, how much do you think is enough for someone to, start saving, let's say for a bachelor, for a spinster, for a family person, like, considering the economy that we live in here in Nigeria or here in Port Harcourt for the most of us. And now that, subsidy has been removed and more shege will be coming in the coming days, how much do you think is ideal that, okay, let's say I'm earning so and so amount, like at the end of the month, I'm going to make this. How much do you think is ideal for someone to make for him to start thinking of saving or to start investing? Because, you can say, let me save 10K per month. At the end of the day, what you are saving for, by the time you want to get that stuff, the price has doubled or quadrupled in the market. How do we account for all these things? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Chibikem, you asked a very, very important question. I saw somewhere in a particular, on Twitter, someone said that inflation is the arch enemy of delayed gratification. That's a very deep statement. But then, first and foremost, I would say that when it comes to the concept of savings, you see, when I was talking about savings, I said why you should save, etc. All your savings, any money, let me rephrase. Savings should only be for emergency. Now, this is what I mean. If you have money coming in every month, and maybe you are planning to purchase, for example, a power bank, and you want to save towards a power bank, that's a different thing altogether. But the word savings should only be for emergency. when you have your budget, you are saving your savings. Once you are done saving for emergency, you have hit your 3 or 6 month target. Every other thing you're doing with that money is only expenses and investments. The power bank you are purchasing, I want to assume that the example is an investment. That's why you are saving towards that investment. So if you ask me and say, okay, what's the typical amount of money that someone can save? I typically work with a 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% goes to expenses, 30% goes to savings for emergency, right? Savings for emergency. And then 20% goes to investments. If let's say you have debt, you are owing people, so you can do the same 50% for expenses, 30% for paying off the debt. If the debt is so much and you want to pay it off in a short period of time, assuming it's not accruing any interest, you want to pay it off fast, you can use 30%, and then 20% is going to be 50-50. 50 goes into emergency and 50 goes into investments. So there is no particular figure that I can say this is what is ideal. But if you have something like a plan, you have a target to purchase something in the future, you can save separately for that. But the idea of inflation eroding your wealth is something that you cannot prevent. Do you understand? Because we are not in control of the economic factors. All we can control is the decisions we are taking with our money. So in my opinion, if I want to save towards something, towards a particular thing I want to purchase, and maybe because of inflation, what I'll just do is that I'll put that money in maybe a high yield savings account, like a piggy vest, where I lock the money, and probably I have a 1-year plan to purchase a car, and I want to hit that goal, right? So I put the money and I lock it until I get the money. Now, and of course, if you lock money, they give you a certain percentage interest rate on it. And even if it doesn't beat the inflation, the point is at least you are closer. And when it's time for you to get back your money, you will just add, a little.
No.
Idea would be just put the money in a high yield savings account like piggy vest, where you can purchase it ahead of, you can plan and then buy it when it's time. And even if inflation erodes the money's worth, no problem. The point is that you are trying to purchase something that is ending up as an asset to you. That is why whatever savings you are doing is either directed to an asset or is meant for emergency. Every other thing should be an investment. That's when you have taken out your expenses. I hope I'm not saying too much.
No, you actually answered the question correctly. Chibuike, just to let you know, like I dropped on the chat, I think this thing about finance, we need to learn, as in when you're receiving, even if it's a small salary, you need to start small, because when you start earning more, if you don't have that habit of saving or investing, you cannot even, it's not that time that you want to start. You'll still get involved in spending your money. I want to enjoy, you only live once kind of mentality. So yes, the allowance is quite small, even if you start, at least if it's something you've not been doing before, start, even if it's not 20, you can't do 20%, 30%, start with 10%. When you will start seeing the return on investment and all of that, you'll be encouraged to even do more. So yes, it's a rule, yes, but I think if you're someone that's not even done it before, just start from somewhere, and then it becomes a habit, it becomes part of you. When you're already even attach your salary accounts to maybe another account, immediately salary comes, it doesn't even get to you, they already deduct it. It won't come to your account, and of course it's already going to that account and it's been invested or it's being used or it's been saved. So it's something that we should learn. There are lots of questions on the chat.
Sorry, let me just add something to what you said. You said something very, very important. So I think what she became to ask the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Operator said something which I think is very important. She talked about starting small and becoming confident as you grow. You cannot imagine the confidence that comes with the little progress you make.
Sure.
Trust me. You cannot, even myself speaking to you, it's not like I have hit my financial targets and I now want to retire young. No, I'm still on my path. I'm still growing. I'm still working towards it, right? But the level at which I have gotten to is as a result of the little steps I took and the progress I saw. Imagine I'm sorry I'm taking this too long, please, Offer. I just want to give an example so that it kind of portrays the point. Something comes up, for example, I am currently in Abuja, and originally the plan for coming to Abuja was not there, right? I had the trip had to be done because of a certain thing I needed to do. And it came up, within a very short time frame. But if I didn't have emergency funds, guess what I'm going to do? I'll either dip my hands in my investments, sell it, maybe at a loss, and then travel to Abuja. But because I had what's it called now? An emergency fund that is just on the side, just in case something comes up that is beyond my takes me off my trajectory on I can just go there and just take the money and make the payment. But that is because of the little steps. I've grown confidently, and then from my 2-3% I started with, I've grown to 5%, and now it's 10%, and then from there you just keep growing, and then you keep getting better, and then you now form your own strategy, because there's no one size fits all. You form your own personal strategy that you work with. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think this one, I will just ask this one, and I think someone, he dropped it on the chat. Okay, direct message to me. He said, what about forex trading? Is that a nice investment?
Wow. Forex trading. Okay, so forex trading is, I don't want you to see forex trading as an investment. Forex trading is a job. Do you understand? It's like when you are investing, you are allowing money to work for you. You are not actively involved in the way the money grows. All you do is you research the asset, you are confident in the asset. Oh, speaking of that, I'm sure they're going to put it on the generator on. So you purchase an asset and you allow that asset to grow over time. You are not involved in how the asset, whether the economy goes up, down, or the asset is growing. But when you are trading forex, yes, some people are comfortable with doing that. Some people are comfortable with the day trading, the fact that they can actually make it like a job. So don't see forex trading as an investment. It's a job. Now, if you make money from forex trading and you want to invest it, you can now take the money and now invest it. But sitting on your laptop or with your phone and setting stop loss and all those things, that's actually a job. So you are not investing, you are working. And when you get money from it, then you can now invest the money properly, because investment is supposed to be passive. It does not involve your active work. Yeah, let me put it that way.
Thank you. A final one. I think we have some students on the call, and one of them is asking, what kind of investments would you advise a student entrepreneur to get involved with so he or she can still maintain financial stability?
Yeah, beautiful. If you are just starting your financial journey as a student entrepreneur, I want to assume that you have a business, or you have something that you're trying to build, like a business. That in itself is an investment, right? So when you are running a business and you want to invest in the context of investing so that you can have financial stability, all you need to do is to be reinvesting your profit into your business. So as a student entrepreneur, remember, you used the word entrepreneur, that's why, not just a student who wants to just invest, right? So a student entrepreneur is someone who has a business as a student. The best form of investment you can do is to reinvest your profit into your business. That way you are able to grow because that is an asset. Your business is an asset. Your skill is an asset. So you are investing in your skill, or you are investing in your business. You are not eating your profit. That's the mistake some people make. When they run a business, they make profit. Wow, this is good, man. That means next year will also be good. Let's eat the profit right now and feel good. No, you reinvest your profit into your business, and then your business can grow and now become a profit generating machine or a money generating machine for you in the future. So just think long term, keep investing your profit into if you have money, for example, you have, as a student, you're getting money from your parents, you're getting money from your business and all that, you have your budget, or most importantly, treat your business like the asset, and you are reinvesting into your business. But if you want to diversify, to maybe, so that you don't, assuming your business closes down, God forbid, or it closes down, you don't want to just go back to ground zero, then you can go for something like maybe a mutual fund, because you don't want to take too much risk. You're a student and you're just starting. So a mutual fund, and PiggyVest, Cowrywise, RiseVest, Kuda, they all offer mutual fund options. You can just check them out And then the one you're comfortable with, you can invest with them. That one gives you a sizable interest rate that does not necessarily beat inflation, which is not bad as a beginner. Yeah.
Thank you. Final one. Please, this is the final one. Everybody should not be bribing me too. Anyways, the last question. It said, do you encourage monthly contribution amongst a group of people where one person packs the whole amount per month? I think some people have found themselves in this kind of situation. So it would be great for a financial coach and expert. So please answer this one for us.
All right. So if a monthly contribution, what do they call that? They call it
thrift.
Yes, that is not an investment. That is just you saving towards a goal. Just imagine that you're trying to you want to discipline yourself to save towards a particular, and just like Chibuike's question now, Chibuike wants to buy something later within a year. And so he joins a susu, and then his goal is just to purchase that thing, but that is not an investment. That is just a savings, a type of savings that allows you to be able to achieve a certain goal at the end of the day. Now, if let's say, why I said it's not an investment is because you're not earning any interest. In fact, you're even losing money at the end of the day, because if you are saving 30,000 naira every month in their job group and you start in January, you're collecting in December. Now, December, you have saved how much now? You have saved, I think, about 360K, I think. And then you have saved 360K, but remember, inflation rate currently is 22.2%. And so your 360K, you have to be deducting 22.2% inside of it. That's actually the value of the money you now have. So you've lost money actually. But if you had invested that 30K every month into, let's say, a mutual fund or into an index fund or into an investment asset that you are comfortable with, you would have been able to grow the money. And rather than see the same 360K by the end of December when you're collecting your own month, you'll be seeing maybe 400 and something, and that way you have grown your money without necessarily getting involved in the process. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yeah, it sure does. Thanks so much for the Q&A session. I think the Q&A session also brought more perspective and people even sharing like, okay, this is the situation I'm currently in now, and I need a financial coach to shed more light or respond to it. I'm sure everyone that asks questions, you're happy about the responses you got. Please, also, is not investment though. So look for ways to invest. But thank you so much, Mr. Victor. And then for now, we're done with the Q&A. So something that we always do here, just to appreciate our speakers for their time and for coming to share their wealth of knowledge with us, would please want to present a certificate to our speaker, Mr. Victor Onwuna. And thank you so much. And we have our membership chair, Madam Tombari Emeka Duruzo, who's going to help us do that presentation briefly. Madam T, can you hear us? Okay, I see her on the call. I don't know if she can hear us. Okay, can you unmute, Madam T? Okay, she's trying to.
Okay. Sorry about that. I couldn't do that initially. My sincere apologies. But thank you very much, Mr. Victor Onwuna. Thank you so much for the enlightenment and the knowledge you've shared and the enthusiasm. I mean, money is one of those very touchy subjects. And even for me, when I saw the advert, I was like, oh, this is money. And coincidentally, just this past 2-3 days, my eyes have turned to focus on money. Because of the whole things happening around us. I'm like, how can I make more money to survive? So really that caught my attention. So thank you so very much. I do apologize that I'm not able to unmute. I'm sorry to turn on my video at the moment, but I will just do what the YP chair has asked me to do. So on behalf of the entire YP team and the board members, and who is ably led by our section chair, Daniel Abia, we want to sincerely appreciate you for your time. If we were to pay you as a coach to do this, it's not something that would have been able to. So we really do wish that you accept this token of our appreciation for the knowledge you have shared. Right now, knowledge is power. I've joined a lot of seminars and events that I have to pay just to sit down and listen to things like this. So we want to sincerely appreciate you and thank you for your time. You know, you talked about being away from home, so I can imagine the inconvenience that could be. Thank you so much. And the team really do appreciate you, and we wish that you accept this certificate of participation as a token of our appreciation. Thank you so very much for coming. We honor you and we are very grateful. Thank you so much. Offer over to you, please.
Thank you, Madam Tomberry. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Thank you so much for your time. I think now it's time for photographs. And I know it's been an engaging, enlightening session. And of course, the chat box is still buzzing. People are grateful for the session, really learned a lot about money. So please, kindly turn on your camera. I want to see the smiles on your faces if this session was really impactful for you. I will stop sharing and I want to see all the YPs on the call, senior members on the call, board members. Please, let's turn on our cameras and let's just do a brief photo session. Yes, our speaker's camera has been on since, so he wants to see other beautiful faces of people that have been listening to him. Simeon, can you help take pictures? I see Henry. Okay, awesome. So please give us your white smile. I want to see your beautiful faces. I see Precious. I see Miracle. I see Darlington. I see my coach Ella. I see Nelson. Awesome. Chibukem, turn on your camera. Us will take back our response to those your questions. I see Ibiso. Wow, thanks for joining. Justice, I see. Okay, Justice, that's your screen, your DP for Zoom. Okay, more people are coming on. Debbie, I see you. Thanks for joining and coming to support your brother. Precious, I see you. Faith, I see you. Okay, let's keep smiling, please. In the next few minutes, we should be done with this. I see Peppo. I see Uju photobombing Ella's picture. Well done, ladies. Simia, do we have pictures now?
Yeah, we are good.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We're not done yet, but we're wrapping up shortly. And quickly, we'll go to the membership drive because we'll see that we have some more lessons that at least some are members of SPE, but there are still some more persons here that saw a flyer and it caught their interest and they were like, I need to join this session. So it will be great for you to know more about this wonderful, wonderful organization. So I'll briefly call on the YP membership chair, Emanuela Agbo, to please take us through the membership drive.
Thank you very much, Ofere. Wonderful session. Thank you to our wonderful speaker too. Well, my assignment here is quite simple. I'm here to encourage you to join SPE if you're not an SPE member. And if you're an SPE member, but your membership is not up to date, I want to remind you that it is always the best time. Now is always the best time to renew your membership. So there are so many benefits of being a member of SPE. I mean, you can benefit from career visibility. You can benefit from mentorship. You can also benefit from the strong network of industry professionals and experts we have in our midst. You can also benefit from professional and technical knowledge sharing events such as this one. So we have a monthly technical series, financial series, and professional development series in our YP space. You can benefit from that. Madam Tongari mentioned that a session such as this one would pay heavily for it, but you're here receiving knowledge, getting answers to your question for free. That is one of the things, that's one of the things you will benefit as being a member of SPE. Also, you would gain better understanding of the industry. I mean, if you want to make an impact, you can't make an impact when you don't have a strong knowledge base. So SPE is a great place for you to increase your knowledge of the industry. So if you want to register or you know someone that you would want them to be a part of SPE, you can always reach me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn name is Emanuela Agbo, or you can text me on WhatsApp. I would always respond to your membership question issues. Then if you want to renew your membership, I don't know if it's still on. There was, Offer would confirm there was a discount for YPs to renew their membership. So if it's still on, you can very well take advantage of that. You can hit me up, or you can actually reach out to Offer directly, and we'll help you process your membership registration and membership renewal. So have a wonderful evening, guys. Thank you very much, Offer. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ella. Of course, for further information, if you want to reach out for renewal registration, like Ella mentioned, you can reach out to her, myself, or any of the numbers or names on the screen. We look forward to welcoming new members. SPE is an organization that I am super proud to be a member of. Yes, upcoming events. We have some events coming up. One is coming up tomorrow as part of lineup of activities for NICE 2023. NICE is an annual conference that we do in SPE for the Nigerian Council. So tomorrow we'll be having the round one of the Young Professionals Energy Debates. And guess what? Port Harcourt section will be going against Abuja section, and we'll be speaking on energy affordability is more crucial than energy sustainability in Africa today. Fantastic topic, you know. And of course, the flyers have been out there. The links are everywhere. So please, let's join. Let's support our own and cheer them on to victory. So it's going to be happening by 2 p.m. tomorrow. Please join us as we engage in that session. Of course, there'll also be Warri section against Benin section for round one. And after round one, hopefully we'll progress to the semi-final stage. You know, winning is in our DNA. So we'll progress to the semi-final stage, which will happen in July. And the finals would take place during the NICE conference in August. So guys, let's join tomorrow. Let's also see how we can even listen to the speakers talk about this interesting areas around the energy transition. And also we'll be having a training too. iTest is a well test interpretation training. Yes, this is a technical training and is open to all young professionals. It will be happening this same month of June from 8th to 9th of June. So the flyers will be out shortly. So you joining this session today, this is us unveiling this particular flyer. So you're lucky to be part of it and getting it first. So would encourage you to register. Of course, it's open to the YPs that are paid, registered, paid, up-to-date members. So that's also something that's very important. So it promises to be a great one. Well testing is one area that's really very great and is important for a petroleum engineer to properly understand how we're going about that, utilizing the data we get from it and the impact of those data in our day-to-day use as petroleum engineers. And yeah, I think we're coming to the end of this session. It's been amazing so far. I wish it will not end, right? Let's talk about money till tomorrow morning. Are you guys ready? But anyways, I'll be calling on our YP technical lead, Mr. Basil, to just please help us with the closing remarks for today. Hopefully, maybe we'll do another final series as indeed people are really interested in the subjects. Mr. Basil, if you can hear me, over to you. Okay. Okay, so maybe you can hear us. Ella, do you want to do this?
I think you can just take your for it.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. It's been amazing. It's been engaging. And I think for me, as a YP chair, one thing that's really important for me is to see how we as YPs are well-rounded. We're not just progressing technically or other areas of our life, but also seeing how you can manage your finance. So this was one area that I felt it to be really great to see that, oh, YPs, some of them are getting new jobs, or yes, they finish from NYC and they get a good offer and all of that. Are they really managing their finances well? So this was something that's always been on my mind. And I'm happy that we are actually having this and seeing how impactful it has been. I really appreciate the team that's been in charge and planning this, engaging the speaker, planning everything around it. starting with the team lead himself, Mr. Basil, and also his assistant, Israel Basil, though with the spelling. So, and also the other members of that team for the energy they put into making sure we achieve this event today. I know we had lots of questions which have been answered. Please don't stop here. Don't just listen and don't act on it. Ensure you go back home, review your finances. Are there areas that you have not been doing well in? Are you budgeting? Are you saving? Have you started investing into legit means, no means that you put in your money and at the end of the day gets lost? That was why we brought the speaker to enlighten us on this subject. So let's go back and review our finance. Yes, we just got into the 6th month of the year. Let's see, set a target for yourself. Say from now to December, I want to become better with managing my finance. And I can tell you, if you put in all the tips you've heard today, looking back, and when we get to December, you'll be happy that you were actually part of this section and it was impactful for you and you're reaping the benefits. So well done, guys. I wish you the very best. And when the money start coming in, when the interest start hitting your account, please remember your YP chair, by the way. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for participating. And then in closing, we'll briefly take the national anthem. Okay, so we'll take the national anthem to close us today. And please watch out for all of our activities in social media. Thanks so much for joining. Thank you all. Thank God it's Friday. Do take care of yourself. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead. Ensure you take time to rest so you'll be refreshed and energized for the new week. Take care. Stay safe.